Welcome to GCSA TV Virtual Live, presented in partnership with Ryan Steiner, one of our GCSA TV live sponsors of the 2021 Virtual Golf Industry Show. I'm joined by my good friend Matt Shaffer, owner of Minimalistic Agronomic Techniques. And the title of our segment today is Playability versus Aesthetics, a great topic. Matt, let's talk about the difference between playability and aesthetics in a golf course. What's your thoughts? Just keep it green, right?
Yeah. See, this is a problem. Like when I first started in the business, first off, I have a tendency to work on old classics. And the old golf courses were designed to hold water. That's just the way they were made. There wasn't irrigation back in the 20s. And so they were built with a clay ring, and they were built with heavy soils to hold water so they could grow some grass. So consequently, early on became a superintendent, my dad was a big time golfer, and believe it or not, I used to play a lot of golf. So, and he was always about firm and fast. He said, this philosophy of tee it high and let her fly, he said, that's crap. He said, look, if you look at a golf course, and he was really a gifted athlete. And he said the ball was meant to be played on the ground. That's why he taught me all about speed slots. He taught me all about, where to place the ball. Taught me all about shot angles. I mean, if you've ever played Seminole, it's all about shot angles, man. The grass is all the same height. It's just a crazy good golf course. And so consequently, that's where my philosophy came from, growing grass. So I've always been about firm and fast. I always have been. It's about starting a putt and letting it leak out. You should never have to beat a ball through the break. Or push it through the grain. It's all about, it's a technique. That's why making these golf courses absolutely pure with nothing to challenge the golfer, in my opinion, was a disservice to the game. Now, consequently, I never really cared about Keller, and I can't say that word because I'm damn near from West Virginia. I apologize for that. But I've always been about playability first and aesthetic second. And I think, real quickly, that's why led to my retirement, actually. The board of directors at Marion had decided that they wanted firm, fast, and green. And I told them, look, you got two problems. Number one, you got a golf course that was built not for that. In order to do what you want to do, you have to have improved turf, sand-based greens. You have to have good drainage, exceptional irrigation, and all by the by, you need to hire a new golf course superintendent. That's not the way I've ever grown grass, and it's probably nothing this old dog will learn in 2 years. I've never watered much. I don't spray much. I'm not all that concerned about weeds. I'm thinking, why are you concerned about weeds in the deep rough? You're not supposed to be there anyways. So that's a long-winded answer, but that's my take on, my philosophy is golf has gotten way too expensive because we worry more about a beauty contest than we do playability. But then we have people like you that can do both, and that's why I retired.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm not often speechless, but I had to think about that. I try to think of it as a balance. I mean, a lot of golfers want to see color. They want to see green. They want healthy turf grass. And I think I remember talking to Dr. Dewich about that. It's about the plant health. And I can remember a story once where he and I were looking at bent grass test plots that I had put in at Loxahatchee Club. And it was back in the late 80s when he was just releasing the A and G series. And we're evaluating plots. And as you know, Dr. Dewich can be very stoic, and he might have took a toke on a cigarette, and he looked at me and he says, Darren, so how do you rate grass? Is it color? And of course, as you remember, you just kind of look at it, the turf god, and go, well, I did anyway. No, sir, I don't think. And long story, he was looking at the light green of some of the series he was releasing, and He said, so if you had a primarily a POA area, would you rather have that variety that's a little more lime green, or would you rather have the dark green variety? And his point was well made. The lime green would match in with the POA. So it's not always about the color or the shade of color, about the playability and the balance of both. I mean, you've been doing this a long time. How do you balance it? How do you try to keep the membership happy that wants firm and fast? And as you know, that often means brown. How do you draw that line?
I think it comes back to communication. I think when it's actually during the interview process for me, it was like, look, I felt compelled to be upfront, and I had built a reputation about having unbelievable playing conditions and not necessarily the most beautiful golf courses. Now, I will tell you, I came out of Cleveland before I went to Marion, and the weather up there is insanely forgiving. I mean, everything about growing grass in our business up north is all about how cold it gets at night. It can be beastly hot during the day, but if it chills down at night, you can grow grass and have it looking good and playing unbelievable. And Cleveland had phenomenal weather. I mean, it had its challenges. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from the superintendents up there. I mean, it did get 128 inches of snow. That in itself is a problem. But, it's so when I came out of there, I don't think that the members really fully appreciated what they were getting into. But I remember when we were doing the walkthrough, and it was an arduous task. There were some really good guys after that job, and they all said, hey, we're going to ride the golf course. And I said, I never ride the golf course. I always walk it. And they say, why do you walk it? I said, because I can feel it. And they said, what do you mean you can feel it? And so we were out in the first fairway, and it was pretty thatchy, I must say. And I said, well, I feel like if I jumped up and down on this fairway 2 or 3 times, I'd be airborne. And they all started to laugh, and they said, okay, well, why don't you walk us through what your golf course is going to be like? And so I told them, and I think it's really important. Now, if you're a young guy, you're still out there hoping you can do it. When you're an old guy, and not that you're super old, but I am super old, I know I can do it. So it's important to convey right out of the gate what your intentions are. And I think most members at great golf clubs like Marion, I think that's another thing. You have to realize who your clientele is. If you're at a high-end public course like Hershey, where I was at, we had 81 holes of golf, and it was a beauty contest. People weren't coming there to play brown grass, and we put out 250 golf carts twice a day. We were a cash cow, man. We were back in '94. We were making $22 million a year on golf. So, and it was all predicated on putting your best foot forward, making it pretty. So, I mean, I think it depends on who you work for. And It's hard as a superintendent. If you have a whole bunch of people that want different things and you only have one golf course, good luck.
Yeah, well said, Matt. You said something that I couldn't agree more. Walking the golf course, it's one thing I love to do in season is get out and walk and feel it. It's one thing to play golf, and you and I both agree it's great. You see the golf course, we've talked about that, and it's great to see it from a player's perspective. But in my busy winter golf season, I often don't have time to devote 4 hours a day to go play golf. I still do occasionally, but just walking it and feeling it. And I've had that conversation with people that work for me, and it's a great way to see the golf course. And Matt, you and I both have worked at some pretty great golf courses. You and I both have worked at Augusta National, so we understand tournament golf. We understand TV golf, and we also both know that how a golf course is seen on Saturday or Sunday on television isn't how it is year round, and that's often can create some challenges with what members and golfers see on TV. So let's talk about that. I mean, having hosted major golf tournaments and needing to see color, how would you explain to the average member what happens the rest of the year at those golf courses?
Yeah, it's funny. I used to come, and I had this reputation. I mean, I've been a superintendent 13 years prior to going to Augusta, but most people don't ever remember that. But it's funny, members said, well, we want it to look like Augusta National. Now, if I was in an insulting mood that day, I'd tell them, well, you can't cover their payroll for 6 months. But if I was and I said, but backing up the bus, money talks. It's not about the money, it's about the money. So, I said, look, everything is relative. So right now with the current money that you allocate to me, I make sure that you have great greens, great greenside bunkers, and unbelievable fairways. I personally think that our fairway bunkers and our tees are substandard, and our rough could use a lot of work. And the clubhouse grounds I'm ashamed of. But, it's all relative and it's about money. Now, I almost never passed up an opportunity to lobby for more money, I must say, but I quantified what I was asking for. And I'd take them on trips. I said, you know what? We're going to do a road trip. We're going to go play golf. We're going to go to a $400,000 a year budget club. They said, well, what good will that do? I said, that's where you're going to learn the most. And then we're going to go to one that's $1 million. Then we're going to go to one that's $3 million. And then we're going to go to one, I'm not going to tell you what the budget is. And our budget right now is $900,000. So, you go to the 400,000 and sure enough, the guy had unbelievable greens. He had a nice shop. He did things the best he could, but you could tell he had limited resources. So, it's really true. A picture is worth 1,000 words and an experience is worth 10,000 words. So I think you need to show your members, like you just can't arbitrarily say you don't spend enough money, you can't have that. That's not good enough. Is that a long answer or what?
Yeah. We both love talking about the industry, and I was saying there's nothing money, love, and time can't do, and I've got the love and I've got the time. Just show me the money. But you also made a good point. It's not always about the money, and some of the best golf course superintendents are at that golf course that has a lower budget and that do a great job, and they know how to allocate their money, as you said, to the greens, what's important. And that certainly makes a great golf course superintendent. So, Matt, any advice to individuals just getting in this business or fairly young superintendents? How do you manage the balance of playability and aesthetics? We've talked about it, but what advice do you give that young individual just getting started?
The very first thing you need to do, particularly if you're just getting into business, is you need to hook up with your golf pro. Because I'm here to tell you that guy knows. He knows what the ouchie points of the membership are right now. You're a new guy coming in and they want to see results. So you go see the golf pro. He'll tell you what you need to address. And then you need to let him know, look, this is a two-way door here, When I'm in trouble, I need you to come see me and tell me, hey, I heard a lot of rumblings, you're in trouble. This is some things you need to address. I mean, I got to tell you, Scott and I was in my office all the time at Marion saying, buddy, you're pushing it too hard, too fast, for too long. The wheels are flying off, So hook up with that golf pro right away. I'm telling you, he is your eyes. He hears everything. So he knows what they've been complaining about for 3 years. He knows why they hired you. So now you got to deliver on those expectations, and he'll help you do it. He'll sell your product while you're out there grinding.
That's awesome, Matt. Could not agree more. I've the saying, the acronym TEAM to me, together everyone accomplishes more. And that team relationship between your golf pro and the superintendent is extremely important. I'm fortunate to have a counterpart here at the club, the golf pro director of golf, Tom Wildenhouse, that we have that relationship. We talk frequently. So once again, Matt, you and I could talk about playability and aesthetics for hours, but we are limited. And I just want to thank the audience once again for listening. Thank Ryan and Steiner for being a partnership with GCSA in this. And Matt, as always, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.